Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blocked episode 33. And we have another guest as usual. Another guest, our usual guest, I should have said. I get my words mixed up.
I am now the new co-host of Blocked Magazine. Hello.
Yeah, do you know what I was going to do then? I was just going to put you on the screen and not actually go on and just go off for 5
You're like,
minutes just to see what you would do. So,
welcome to
how's it
Murderknits.
going?
It's going. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, it's been one of them weeks, hasn't it? It's yesterday. I was feeling really miserable before I did the knit night thing, and the knit night girls really cheered me up, so that was good. But when you do Facebook and it does that thing where it goes back 5 years or 3 years, and it tells you what you posted. And
Oh yeah, then you want to vomit because you're like, what the hell was I thinking?
But obviously, the 12th of February every year since I've been on Facebook has been a miserable day for me for some reason.
There you go.
So it's like, I don't know. So I need to put it in every calendar now. So 12th of February, and then I just need to stay in bed. So what are you knitting?
I am working on my Mystery Mouse Knits Advent Shawl for Death on the Nile. And let me tell you guys, do not sleep on Holly's Advent kits. They are absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. I did have to change the what I'm doing on this part because, of course, my numbers were off because I didn't listen to directions.
And she didn't do a gauge swatch, everybody.
No. So I'm changing it up a bit. She had special eyelets and I couldn't get them to line up, so I'm just doing a different thing, but it's gorgeous. And her colors are beautiful.
Did you have to pick up along the coloured edge, where you've got the stripe? And do you have to pick up like 3 out of every 5 or whatever? Is it like that?
Well, it would have worked if I didn't do too many increases because you're supposed to stop after like 130 increases, and I think I have like 200. So.
Oh, it's not like you to make extra large shawls, is it, Tabitha?
So,
one day you'll learn.
I know.
It looks really good though. Those colours are really nice because they're not. It's kind of a rainbow, but it isn't a rainbow, and it's a bit less garish, isn't it?
And she did hers based on Death on the Nile, and so it's a pyramid, and I think that is so clever.
Ah, right.
That
she designed the shawl as well?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dyeing the yarn and designing the shawl. That's going far. Holy cow.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. It's not an old whip, but because I'm trying to get all these things off my needles so I can start new things. So that's it. I finished my. Oh, how many whips? I think I have 12. Well, I have 12. Well, no. Shut up.
Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
I have. So my whips fall into 2 categories: things that are on the needles and planned. I have like 75 planned items. That means my yarn is wound up and in a bag. But I only have like 13 things on the needles. So,
So that means she's got 75 plus 13.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, I've got to do a big clear out this weekend, actually, because I've got work people coming in to do a ton of shitty, crappy work that I don't even want done in the flat. And what I've got to do in every room, I've got to move all the furniture away from one side of the hallway. And so it's quite a lot of work because in the spare room, it's just floor to ceiling with boxes and jars full of yarn and things like that. And I've realized that some of it, I'm never, ever, ever going to knit with it because it's something that I bought like 15 years ago, that I thought was a good choice, and it's not. And I just think, why am I keeping it? So I'm just going to donate it I'm going to find a local knitting group at the library, I think, and just go in with a big bag and let them have it all. Because otherwise it gets overwhelming. Especially if you know you're not. Well, Annie, A Stitch in the Sky. One of her friends is sad, really. One of her friends has got dementia, and so I think she might have gone into a home now. I think, I'm not sure. So she's inherited a huge stash of yarn, and it's really made me think about this, beyond life expectancy thing, because what's going to happen to all that yarn? Somebody else is going to end up with it. you know, and I just think I need to curb this a little bit and try and get through it.
So I could not buy yarn for the rest of my life and be fine. But it's funny is, you know how on Two Sisters and Some Yarn, they're like, this is Denise's stash is Amy's inheritance. Well, my girls, Chesney and Paisley, watch that show with me, and so they're like scheming of which yarn they're going to use. And I'm like, I am 34. I am not dying soon.
Well, what you don't know is the rest of us have done the same thing. There's a screenshot. No, there's not. I was going to say there's a screenshot of your yarn, and we've all got our names on things. No, we haven't. What's this? I have an emergency number for friends on my yarn cabinet. What is that? Because everything of importance is in that yarn cabinet. Is that what it is? Well, shall we start with the review of the issue, and then we can talk about the juicy stuff afterwards, can't we? And,
let me show my shawl first.
Oh, okay. Oh, taking over my show.
Oh. I am. So
that colour is lovely.
I don't know how. It's hand-dyed yarn, and I was worried that when I washed it, that it would the whole tub would be red, but nothing bled, and I didn't even use color catchers.
And so, is that whose yarn is it?
Crow and Crescent. She's on Etsy.
Right.
And
it's a really nice color because
gorgeous.
It's not it's got a tiny bit of blue in the red, hasn't it?
I don't know.
You know what? As in, it's not a. I always say that it's not a yellow red. It's a blue red, I think.
She does very dark, saturated colors, and I think sometimes that's hard with hand-dyed yarn. You know, it's easier with machine-dyed yarn to get that kind of even, uniform color. But
people are approving.
Of course they are. This is my Morticia shawl. A free pattern in Block magazine. It's just like the Murderknits shawl. Pick your needle, pick your yarn, pick your size, and
no
stop
gauge,
when
rolls eyes.
No, stop when your ancestors tell you to stop. All of
it. What if your ancestors don't talk to you because you voted for Brexit?
Well, then you're gonna have one big log, one big thong, because it's like. After I had it blocked out, and I was like, that looks like underwear.
Well, it might fit me.
It's a size inclusive.
Size inclusive underwear. Okay.
So
how long did it take to knit that, out of interest?
If I only felt that's hard to say because I was doing a lot of stuff outside of knitting this last time. But if I just sat down and did this, I could have, maybe a couple days.
Oh, do you know, have you seen Politically Incorrect Knitters this week?
The one with the guest? No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, she did the time challenge.
She beat me?
Should I tell her, people? Should I tell her whether she beat her or not?
Go for it. I don't give a shit.
Should I make Tabitha wait and stress? No, she was close, very close.
Oh, she was close.
Yeah, like 2 stitches, I think, might have been the.
Oh, good for her.
I mean, really close. So you might have to get practicing just in case we do another round of it.
My schedule and their schedule doesn't seem to match up ever. So I don't know if I'll be on another Knitting Wars. It's just so hard with my schedule now that I'm doing other things.
Yeah, they put it back quite a few hours, didn't they? Because I find it harder now. Because it used to be 7 o'clock for me in the evening, which would have been about 11 o'clock for you, is it, in the morning?
I have no idea. I don't know your time.
Oh, Bevy says I think she did 62, and you're.
Oh, well, she was way fucking off. That I'm at 68 or 69.
I think you're 67. I think.
No, 68.
I think you're just adding now. I think you're just adding them on.
No, because I was really close to 69, and then I was disappointed that I didn't get 69 because I thought that'd be very funny.
Oh, someone says it's a very MAGA red that you've knitted.
It is.
Yeah. Oh, and you've had some photos taken, haven't you? Because you're going to be our cover girl.
Ah. About damn time.
The only thing I don't like about the pictures, just one criticism, is that there's no dead body.
So where I took the photos is a state park, and there's a lot of people that were walking around, which it was Super Bowl weekend, and I thought, well, either there'll be nobody there because it's Super Bowl, or there'll be a lot of people there because it's Super Bowl. And so you saw my outfit, and that's not the typical outfit that people wear to hike out to the cliffs. So I already stuck out like a sore thumb. And then trying to figure out how to place a body where, people walking by watching the waves was not kosher.
Yeah, somebody would have reported you for that,
Yeah. This one lady kept walking by. She kept walking by, and Tom was taking my photo. And she's like, "Oh, do you want him in the photo?" And Tom looked at her and looked at me and goes, "No. Do you see? We do not, because it's raining and it's storming, and he's dressed up to not get wet, and I'm like half naked because of my outfit." He's like, "Do we look like we go together for a photo?" No.
You can't tell it was raining. There's no sign of
rain. It was bad.
Yeah, the pictures are good, by the way, everyone. If you haven't already seen them, because I know you've shared them in a few places, haven't you? We don't know which one we're going to use yet, because I'm going to mock all. There's 3 photos, and I'm going to mock all 3 up as a cover, and then see which works best. But each one has got something really cool about it that I like. That I don't know whether it was intentional or not. One of them, you've got this brilliant shape behind you in the shape like a porthole in the tree. So I've got to.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh, it's a really good. What's the word? I always go on about Fibonacci codes and Fibonacci numbers. It's called the golden ratio. So you've got that in what's called the golden ratio. So it really works well. Now, if I can get the logo for Blocked in the place where I want it, that is going to be a perfect cover. But I've got a feeling I might not be able to squeeze the logo in there. So I might have to go with one of the other ones.
You don't need the logo.
Oh, look how bullied I am. Look, I'm just bullied by all these women. Yeah, well, all 3 will be in the magazine, obviously, because they'll be inside, So the one that isn't on the cover will be next to the pattern inside. Oh, and also, Paisley's going to be in this issue as well.
Yeah.
Because, did you know we've never put the Murderknits shawl in the magazine yet? It's not been in yet.
I thought it's been in there because I'm telling people, go find it in Blocked magazine.
No, unless we put it in and I've just forgotten. Well, it looks like it'll be going in again anyway. So if you get it in twice, because it was the Murderknits blanket, wasn't it? And the cowl.
Murder Takes the Bus.
Yeah, but I don't know whether
it's in the first. It's not the first issue.
The first issue of Block? No, I don't think so.
Well, I submitted it for the first issue, so thanks a lot. Rude.
Did you? Oh yeah, well let me just tell everyone the way Tabitha submits a pattern or an article or anything, she'll just say, "Oh, you can put this pattern in," but then I don't get the pattern. She'll say, "Oh, well, it's in me feed somewhere," and you have to go and look for it, and then you have to decipher the pattern yourself. So not only does she not do a gauge shot, she makes it as hard as possible. Like she'll say, "Oh, put my advert in the magazine." Oh, you just do it. Am I wrong?
I'm not crying.
Yes. Let's just say, if everybody was like Tabitha, we wouldn't have a magazine because I wouldn't have the time.
That's all right. I'm your best. I'm your favorite person, Neil. It's fine.
Oh, somebody else says it was an awesome. Only one person says it was an awesome photo.
Thank you,
I thought
Beth.
it was another person, but it's the same person saying the pics were great.
Anyways, if people are new here, I run Blocked magazine, and Neil is my bitch.
Yeah, I just do as I'm told. Because I'm so pathetic, aren't I? I just don't have my own brain or anything.
They only saw the messages that we send of you yelling at me because I didn't do it right.
Yeah, if people only knew, eh? Tabitha is great at delegation. Yeah, so it's like, Neil, I'm going to be on the cover of the next issue. That's what she said.
Isn't that funny?
Well, luckily, I've said luckily, she did Tom did a really good job.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Tom.
He's getting better. It's really hard because I told him, I said, Morticia doesn't smile. And so he's making faces at me behind the camera. And I'm like, you jerk. I can't smile. I had to look like a bitch. And he goes, well, that's not hard. Ha ha
I think you should. He won't wear. He doesn't do the knitting thing, does he? He doesn't wear knits, does he?
Well, no. I made him a pair of mittens and he wore them once. And then he put them, because I made him for fishing. And he put them in his waders. And then I don't know what happened to him.
I was going to say, because he'd be, you could get him to do some modeling as well.
Well, I could knit things, and he would do it for the photo. He would just never wear it again because he's
scared.
Get
his friends to take the piss out of him.
Well, he's scared that he's gonna, because he knows how much it costs.
Oh, right.
And so he's like, and he's really hard on things. Like he has one pair of pants that he wears for church because there's no oil, there's no blood, there's no holes.
Yes, Therese, it's not the foot fetish magazine. Yet. Oh, that's quite sweet of him, though, isn't it? Because he's actually thinking about.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to ruin. He goes, that's expensive stuff. I go, well, even I can do the cheap wool that would hold up really well. He goes, yeah, but that's still. And he goes, because I wanted to knit him a nice sweater for church, and that's probably the only place he'd wear it. But even then, he gets stuff on his church clothes. Like, I bought him a new pair of pants for church, and I think there's already an oil stain on him.
He's such a boy, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's like, get them dressed up for church, and they're in the mud.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, it's a shame. Oh, we were talking about Ganses. I'm not going to go on about this because I know I talked about it on Knit Night, but I got some of this. No, I've not bought any yet, but I got this Gansey yarn card. So this is proper 5-ply, and I am going to order some, and I'm going to have a go at doing a Gansey at some point.
Did you send me that link?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Well, I'll send it to you as well. But the company is guernseywool.co.uk, and the people that actually make the yarn. Oh no, sorry. The yarn is made by guernseywool.co.uk, and they make it exclusively for a company called Frangipani. So I don't know whether does that show up on there. Can people see that?
No.
Is that because you're old and you haven't got your glasses on?
Yeah, no, I can see it.
What I'll do is I'll just type it in here and I'll put it on the screen, and then I'll send you the.
Okay.
I don't know how realistic it is to order from them from the States, though, because I do know they charge extra.
A lot. Yeah. I saw that.
Oh, although I was a bit pissed off that if you're British, you have to pay more for the wool. So it's 33 British pounds for a 500 gram cone, but if you're British, it's £39. It's like, that's not fair.
Do you think if I use whole yarn, it'll double, that would work, or would that be too thick after it bloomed?
I think it would probably work because this is definitely what you'd probably call or what did Liz call it last night? A something fingering. It's between fingering and sport weight. So
heavy fingering.
Heavy fingering, that's the word she used, yeah. Which is probably what Holstein double is, because it's it's a very fine yarn to knit with, isn't it? It's like not as plump as a normal fingering, is it that?
So, golly, this is the sweater I want to knit.
Oh, wow. Is that the one that you said is a duster? No, it's not a duster, is it? It's quite long, isn't it?
No, it is. It's like a tunic.
Ah. Oh, see, look, I'm not even allowed to choose my own colour. Look, I'm joking, by the way, Therese. So how many yards will you have to?
Well, 1,100 gram balls of Windy Guernsey 5-ply on size US 3 millimeter.
Yeah, that's standard for a Guernsey. For a Gansey, I mean. Yeah. So I think you'd get away. Well, the only reason you do it on a 3mm for a 5-ply is because it's supposed to be quite tight, isn't it? Because it's supposed to be, you know, to keep the sea and the wind out and everything. But if you're not going out to sea on a boat, I think you'll be fine doing, you know, fingering with a 3mm.
Well, what about, so it's 28 stitches and 36 rows. Is that like fingering weight gauges?
28 is it is a fingering weight gauge, but it's quite a tight fingering weight gauge. And usually, I think normally it's 28 to 33, isn't it? I think normally, or anyway, I think 26 to 33 is your normal standard fingering. But obviously, that's tight. It's very tight. And you being such a loose knitter, you might have to go down to a 0 needle or whatever it is you call it. Yeah, BS is saying 28 is usual for fingering.
So the measurements, there's 2 measurements to fit bust: 34 to 38 inches or 40 to 44 inches. But this looks like it has a ton of ease, because there's no way that I am that small. But she looks like a normal size. So there's got to be a ton of ease in there.
Does it say which size she's wearing?
No.
You see, so it's hard to tell then, isn't it? So if you do it in your size, it might not be as loose as that.
Oh. All round at the bust, 48 inches or 54 inches. So this must be a 48-inch size.
Right.
Meaning, if she's 38 inches, a standard, you know, skinny bitch, she's got 10 inches of ease. But it doesn't explain that in the
Therese says, is there a schematic? Yeah, because that normally shows you, doesn't it? But the schematic isn't necessarily going to show you what the model is wearing, but at least it'll give you a better idea of...
No, this is an old book. There's no... Oh, here's a better photo of it.
Yeah, there is a ton of ease in that, isn't there? Ton. Even I might fit in that.
Yeah. So I think if I do, because my bust is 44.
Well, do you know what you could do? I've got a brilliant idea. Something I think I've invented. I don't think anyone else knows about this. Is you could do something what I like to call a gauge swatch.
No.
You know, just see how tight or loose your knitting is, and then you'll get it right.
Well, I'll probably have to do a gauge swatch, especially if I do wholesale double, and then because I need to see what it's like after it blooms.
Yeah, could you not just knit a hat? You know, with the same. What? Do you not knit hats? Hats not your.
No, thing. I do, but if I do knit gauge swatches, like on Paisley's communion dress, I did a gauge swatch. I mean, I will do it when it's necessary.
Right, people, you've heard it here. Tabitha, this is exclusive news, never before ever heard anywhere. Tabitha did a gauge swatch.
I did. So, but I mean, only because I don't want to waste, because it's a big sweater, and I don't want to spend half, you know.
Yeah, because that's a lot. It's a lot of yarn, isn't it, to not fit?
Yeah.
I think, because I'm just trying to think with the Gansey, you do it in the round, don't you? You start from the bottom.
No, this one's done in pieces.
Well, could you not just start with a sleeve? And then why
do you make this difficult?
Well, surely that's the easy way. Just start with the sleeve and then measure your gauge when you've got about that much. And
but I want to know what it. But if I'm using Hulse, I want to know what it's like after it's blocked.
Oh, right. Well, you'd have to do a whole sleeve then, though, wouldn't you? So, so you are going to have to do a swatch. You're just going to have to bite the bullet and knit a swatch.
Well, I'm never knitting this, so.
Tabitha,
all right, Neil.
For the sake of that. Oh, you can even do it in different colours, you know, because all the Holst yarn you've got, you'll be able to just do it in any colour, won't you? Not even the colour you're going to use on the sweater.
We're done. All right. Next.
I can't believe you.
No, I'll probably knit it because I want to, but I will have to do and I don't mind doing, like, I've done swatches and then Paisley takes them for her dollies, you know, so it's not a complete waste.
Heartless, handmade. Put your sleeve swatch on waste yarn and block it. You could steam block it. You get a good, a reasonably good.
I don't have an iron.
Okay. I think you're just putting up barriers now. I think you're just making things up. I don't have a house. I don't have a sink to wash it in either. I don't have anywhere to pin it down. Nowhere.
I actually don't, but
we live in a tent. Well, if you don't do the swatch, you're not going to get the sweater.
Well, I probably will.
Somebody out there, tell her. Come on, tell her. Put her straight on this.
I can't see the comments, so they can tell me all I want, but...
Oh, can you? Oh, I forget. Yeah, you can't. Well. Oh, you should see what they're saying about you. Holy shit.
That's fine.
No, they're being very complimentary. Well, mostly. No, I'm joking.
That's fine.
So, well, have you seen... Actually, I think I showed you something out of it. I showed this last night, so I won't go on about it too much. But I've got this book that I really like. And the reason is because you learn how to knit a Ganzi from start to finish, the traditional way, though, with all the traditional parts of it. And you do it by making a teeny tiny little Ganzi sweater, too small for a baby, teeny tiny size, which I did make. And I will have to do it again, though, because I've forgotten how to do it. And it's quite good fun as well, because you learn everything and you don't have to have huge amounts of boring bits in between. But when you do it, you pretty much can make your own up, but it does have patterns at the back, because I think there was one you liked actually that I sent you. Was it the long one? It was a tunicky type one, wasn't it? So it's worth getting this book, by the way. I've read this cover to cover, and I don't often read these kind of books cover to cover. No idea who she is, by the way, so she probably hates us, but oh, Liz is backing you up.
Yeah, they do. So I have swatched before, I think, and for a sweater, my big Lebowski sweater, I did a proper swatch. And then I knitted it, and then it did not turn out right.
Okay. So, what more can be said about swatches? I don't know. If we can't convert you, then that's that, isn't it?
I will die on this hill.
Swatch hill, yes. Right, shall we get into the magazine?
Yes.
And then, because we have got juicy stuff to talk about, but we're going to do that at the end, just to keep you all hanging on and get the numbers up. Oh, we've got, do you know, it's really funny. We always have exactly the same number of people watching live. It's really strange. It's like always the same number. It's almost like, we have fans or haters, one or the other. Right, so here we go. Let me get myself sorted. I'm nearly ready. How can I make that bigger?
You are asking the wrong person.
That's going to get misconstrued as well, isn't it? The age-old question nobody has the answer for. Okay, this is issue 12 of Blocked. So, Blocked. And I really love this cover. I think this cover is going to be better than Tabitha's cover. The reason why I love this cover is because I wasn't expecting it, and the person who sent the image, who did the design, oh god, off the top of my head I can't remember, but it's in the magazine, so I'll tell you in a second. Just sent this. She just took the picture, and I thought it was such a clear, brilliant picture, and I just loved the way she did it at that angle, without, because most people, when they take a picture of something they've knitted, including myself, we kind of go above it and just take the picture of it kind of square. And this kind of really showed the detail of the stitches, and that, what do you call that? Is that a carried stitch? What would you call it? It's like a yarn over the front, isn't it? I just think it looks really cool.
A ladder. It looks like ladders to me, but it's not a ladder.
Yeah, because obviously I think it would be turned that way if you were wearing it, because so it would look slightly different, I think. But yeah, I see it as like bones. They look like bones to me, leg bones. Anyway, right, so inside cover here, we have all the contributors as usual. This is going to look different in the next issue. My usual ramble at the beginning. No need to go through that. And we have an article by MMK.
Okay. I felt very attacked by this article. Just
good,
FYI.
because I think it was all
rude
about you.
As hell. Oh my god! I was like, Neil.
So how did it hurt you? Show me on the picture how it hurt you.
It was a very good article. I don't know who wrote it, but I very enjoyed it. I just felt personally attacked, but that's fine. Whatever.
But why though? Why did you feel personally attacked?
Well, I think I had just done a thing about how I wasn't a big, or like, I don't know. I just felt like, because I'm not a monogamous knitter, and I don't quite remember the article, but I got the feeling that they implied that monogamous knitters are better. And I was like, hold the fuck up. But it was a very good article. And I think I had just done a podcast where I was like, not dissing monogamous knitters, because I want to be a monogamous knitter. But I was like, oh, how dare they?
Well, you know what you could do? You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
You could write an article.
You could do your, a rebuttal of this. It would have been great, actually, to have the two side by side. You know what I mean? To have two, because obviously everybody will feel that they agree with it or disagree with it. That's the whole point of articles, isn't it? But yeah, well, I'm not a well, I'm trying to be more of a monogamous knitter.
Yeah.
But it's almost impossible, isn't it, to do that for us, for people like us.
Yeah.
Because I suspect monogamous knitters don't have stashes like we have. Because
that's one thing I've noticed is, and I was listening to the Very Pink Knits podcast. They have a very nice podcast and I listened to it in the car with the kids because they're actually appropriate for kids to listen to. And they were talking about stash.
I have issues with Very Pink, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Go on.
Oh, well, whatever. That's a you problem. I don't.
Wait till I tell you, though.
Oh, well, don't ruin it for me, Neil. So they're talking about stashes, and I was pretty put off because they were not talking down to people who have stashes, but they could not believe the waste that people have stashes, and that it was very privileged. I hate using this word because the left use it, but it came off very privileged. Like, oh, as soon as I finish, a project, I just go pick out new yarn for my next project. I don't understand why you need this, and I'm thinking, bitch, have you never been poor?
Yeah, have you never had to buy yarn in the sale? Because that's almost all of my yarn is sale yarn, almost. Holst had a sale this week, didn't they? And I've ordered some, but I wouldn't have ordered it if they weren't on sale. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to knit it. It just means I've got to get it while I can, because I won't want to spend the full amount on it,
Yeah. No, and it was very I don't know if pretentious is the right word, but very well, I don't have that problem, and my life is so much better than yours because I finish a project. And then I go out and buy the exact yarn I want for my next project. I never have to shopping my stash. They get very offended if they have to use something they already have. And I was kind of like, wow, that says more about you than me,
It does.
And they were like, well,
I suspect they're the kind of people. Well, mind you, I've got to hold my hands up here. This Lock Karen sweater thing that I'm going to be starting. I did this, and it's the first time I've ever done it though. Is that I don't know whether you do this, but I very rarely buy the yarn that they recommend with the pattern. Although I don't think I've ever one.
Well, I have done no, yeah, they do. I will if say one of if Liz is designing a sweater and it's a certain color that I if I want to match the colors, then of course I would buy the yarn.
That they recommend. Elle, are you? Because I don't know, is Elle the person that actually wrote it? Are you MMKL or not?
I don't know.
If
you are. No, I loved it. It was an article that it made me think. And I know I feel bad because I'm I don't remember what it was, but at the time I was
fight.
Oh, shut up, Neil. I loved it, but I did feel attacked, and I don't hate you. I love you, Elle. It was a beautiful article, and it made me think, and it made me think of how I do things, and how I can be better. Because I don't like being the yelly of the knitting club and all these poly shit everywhere. Because my life is a mess. I really don't want to be this way.
Tabitha, never compare yourself to that person ever again. Never.
Well, I mean, like, because I have all these projects, and I'm like, No, it was a beautiful article. I love it when people make me think, and people I disagree with make me think about things, even if it offends me. It was a beautiful article, and I loved it.
Listen to her backtracking now, Elle. She's digging that hole.
Whatever. Fuck off.
Yeah, sorry, Elle. I have no idea it was you, because people that have like letter acronyms for names, I'm not going to remember who you are. So it's interesting that you've got L and then MMK. Not quite sure what that's about.
No. Shut up, Neil.
Am I making it worse? But no, this is what's good, though, isn't it? I like the fact that has encouraged that discussion. It's made you think, hasn't it? Whether you agree with it or not is irrelevant. It's the fact that you have thought about it, and that's what a good article should do. So so don't give up writing for us, please, Elle.
No, I loved it.
Yeah. Right. So let's move on.
Wait, what's the thing with? What are you gonna tell me about Very Pink Knits? I need to know. Do they hate us?
Oh, Very Pink. Yes. Well, do you remember when when Ravelry did the whole Donald Trump thing, where they said it was, unequivocally blah blah blah, whatever, white nationalism, and there was the whole outcry that day. What she did that day, and I'll never forgive her for it, and I actually said, I messaged her and told her she was a bitch. Sorry, if there's kids in the room, you need to get them out of the room, because we're probably going to swear a lot. She posted a thing afterwards giving away a free pattern, and what she said was, now that they've all gone, here's a free pattern for everybody. And I just thought, you nasty piece of shit. You know what I mean? And I did message her, and then she basically tried to get her followers to, have a go at me, but he didn't really do much. I think she was really surprised that somebody had the nerve to actually question her on it. You know what I mean? Because it was just so, it was like a celebration. You know what I mean? They were celebrating that they got rid of all these people. So it kind of really put it in perspective for me.
That really, because I listened to their episodes, because they're short episodes, they're not very long, so it's like the perfect drop the kids off at school, come back home kind of thing. Yeah. And I've gotten the feeling that she lives a very different life than I do, and that's okay. Oh, yeah. I think that's okay, and I don't think people have to relate to everything. Not everything people put out there's for you. And I think you see that a lot in the neighborhood. Well, I can't fit in that sweater. Well, it's not fucking about you.
Yeah.
But there's ways that you can come across that aren't so.
We're talking about Stacey from Very Pink Knits.
Her whole, I never have to shop my stash because I can always go out and buy what I want when I want it. I was like, man.
Yeah, well,
you can say that without shitting on people who have a stash because they go through times in their life where they don't have money.
Yeah. Yeah, because that is why you have a stash, isn't it? It's a bit like people who hoard food. They hoard food because they're worried about the time when they won't have food. There's a reason why people overstock things. It's. But I used to. Well, I still will listen to her. I prefer her. Yeah. I don't think she does much on YouTube now, but she always used to. But I don't mind the audio one, and I only listen every now and again though, because part of me is so angry with her. For saying that. But you're right. She is privileged. She's clearly much wealthier than the average knitter, put it that way. I mean, you've seen pictures of the house, haven't you? It's absolutely enormous.
Yeah.
And she's out in Texas somewhere, isn't she? I think. Anyway, so moving on. Who's this absolutely gorgeous bloke here? What a handsome
I will say,
man.
Neil, even though you like the color blue, red is your color.
Do you think?
I do. I really, even though, I mean, people could say it's Santa, but it's not a bad color on you. You should step away from blue.
Step away from the blue. Well, I was saying last night, I think that you and I have very similar colouring. Because I think, have you got grey blue eyes?
I have blue eyes. I have gray hair and I have blue eyes.
You don't want the grey connotation in your eyes. Yeah, see, I've got grey eyes, blue eyes, grey blue. So, and I think we have a similar-ish skin tone, but looking now, we don't. On the screen, we don't. So maybe I'm talking through my backside.
Wow.
I don't know.
I have red cheeks. I've always had red cheeks.
I should say red suits you, shouldn't I? I said it the wrong way around, and that was poor English. Apologies to everybody. But who cares? Who cares? Anyway, so this was the naughty or nice thing, because for a long time, I don't know whether you know, I'm not sure which name to use. Penelope, what's her username? She does a YouTube channel where she reads Nancy
Drew. Yes, I love that. I know who you're talking about.
I can't think what I know a real name, but I can't think what her username is. I don't want to say a real name in case she doesn't use it. But we were going to do. Actually, her name is out there. She's called Nancy, isn't she? Or she uses the name Nancy. I don't know whether it's a real name. And we were going to do a Neil and Nancy's naughty or nice thing every issue. Or a video, but we've not got around to it because she was quite ill, and there was a reason why she couldn't do it, and we've just not got around to it. So I thought, I'll start doing it every year. At the end of the year, I'll do a naughty or nice list. So we had a list here, and I've even put the link as to why we put them in. So we started off with Emma Ujifusa. No idea if that's how you pronounce her name, but I don't care because she got Anna Pinkava's name wrong, so she can't complain about people not knowing how to pronounce her name. Yeah, she was a real bitch about DK and Anne. It was pretty uncalled for. Felicia Eve, she's in there, and that's obvious why she's there, for all of the dodgy dealing she was up to. Stephen West is in there because of the swastika. The Craftsnarkers, they're pretty much always going to be a feature. I've got them to agree to removing every mention of me from Craftsnark. Can you believe it?
I saw that because I was looking for that dumpster fire post that they did, and I'm like, are they not allowed to talk about Neil?
Yeah, that's the new rule. One of their rules, they're not allowed to mention me or the magazine. And I just think it kind of does pay to fight back, because I've been, all it took was 2 days of me actually being on Craftsnark, telling them that they were lying or asking for evidence. And that is all it took. So if I'd have done that 2 years ago, they would have had that rule back then as well, because they cannot stand being questioned on what they say. They will not accept, they need to show evidence. Anyway, so that's that. So if anyone ever does see anything about me or Block Magazine in Craftsnark, report it, because they'll have to remove it, because they don't have to, because they can lie, can't they? But they're supposed to remove it now, which suits me, because I just think the stuff that they said about Blocked wasn't true. And it wasn't an advert. Do you know what I mean? All it was doing was making people think that those things might have been true, because they were pretty shit what they were saying. And a lot of it was personal attacks about me, and a lot of sex stuff, which is like, what the hell? Why? What's that all about? But anyway. And then the nice people, we had Nitty McPurley. That was because she did the retreat in the January of last year. Anne Pinkava. Why was that? That's because she did the Shark Week, because that was so successful. I thought that was quite cool. I think that's why she's in there. Patricia Taylor, because she did some stuff to do with Let Them Live. She did a whole set of patterns, which was good. The Loose Ends projects and a Hat for Sailors, and I think they're pretty self-explanatory, aren't they? Whether we'll do this again, I don't know. Then we had a knitters playlist of songs. I thought this was quite cute. So Mommy Dreary submitted this. And I think the idea is that you play them when you were knitting prior to Christmas, because I don't think they were all Christmas songs, but I think some of them were. Are they all Christmas songs? No, I don't think they are. So yeah, it probably took her ages to find all of them. And Dissident, I hope everyone's still knitting them. Then we have the advert for the Who Done It, which is now over, but I'll be putting the story in the next issue. It's going to be, the first chapter will be in the issue itself, and then there'll be a link to read the rest of the story. I would put it all in, but it's about 75 pages long. It's like a mini book, isn't it? Have you read it yet? No.
No, I have. If I could get Amy or somebody to do that, because I don't read. Like, that sounds very uneducated, but I don't have the time to sit and read a book. I listen to books like when I'm at work and stuff. While I'm working, I'll listen to books on Audible or whatever.
The audio book.
Yes.
She did say on one thread I saw she was going to ask me to read it. But
Yeah.
the problem is I can't do the Southern American accent, and it's set in New Orleans, you see, so it'd sound really weird.
I think it'd
Me
be
saying,
funny.
so hi y'all. What I can't even think of any other things they say, but it just wouldn't sound right. And then a lot of the other articles for this issue were all about end of year, beginning of year things, and it's things to do with what people's plans were. And Deplorable Knitter wrote an article about whether to make knitting resolutions or not, and she actually put a few listed things there. And I think the general consensus though is people don't make knitting resolutions. I've not heard of anybody making any this year. Did you make one?
Hello. Me, Shauna, and Tara are all whipping our knits this year. What the hell, Neil?
Oh, you are. You are. Oh, well, that's not important though.
I did try to not buy yarn, and I didn't buy any yarn in January, and then February went down like a bunch of flames. So starting in March, I'm back on my no buy. But
I keep saying I've not bought any, but I have. I've bought the Holst yarn, and I'm also in a knitting club, Euphoria Knit, so I can't say I've not bought any yarn. But I've not been anywhere near as spend happy as I usually am.
Oh,
that's
February.
I've got to be go on. February.
That chicken lady yarn got me. That Tiger King yarn.
Oh yeah.
God.
Oh well, it's not called Tiger King yarn, is it? It's
I've renamed it.
Is it Meow Meow? Was it called? No, what was it
called?
Yeah. Well, the other one is lovely as well. The one for Amy. It's not Amy's dog. It's for Denise's dog, wasn't it?
I wanna order a skein of that and knit a pair of socks in Denise's honor, but Chicken Lady, if you're watching that, please add it to my order so I don't have to pay for more shipping.
This is typical of Tabitha. Yeah, Chicken Lady, could you just do my order for me? Could you just tell me what I'm going to order and then just send it me and pay for it as well? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm all my stuff on file.
The thing is, she'll do it as well. That's the funny thing.
She knows I'm good for it.
Oh, and this was the Selboom Mitten competition. So this first one, so these were all designed by readers and some people you'll know.
I wanted to do this one, but it just got away from me. Yeah, too much work I had to do.
You couldn't get me to do it for you, could you? That's what it was. Yeah, I'm sure you probably said, Neil, design me a mitten. So the joint winner was Michelle F. And I thought this was really great. So there were 3 prizes in total. So the patrons of Block chose the best design on paper. Well, on screen, I should say. So they looked at what you're looking at now and chose the 2 that I'm going to show you. And then there was a separate competition which Liz Clothier judged on the finished mittens that were submitted, the photos, sort of on technical ability or whatever and stuff like that. So I'll tell you about that in a second. So this was really great, very seasonal. This was actually my favorite one, this conjoined twin skeleton one. So you'd have to have your hands, together for it to work. But I love that. I don't think many other people liked it. I think it's probably a bit creepy, isn't it, for most? But I think it's quite cool. And I like the spiral effect as well.
I do like the spiral.
Why don't you like the conjoined twins? What's wrong with you? It's more Tisha stuff. Come on.
Well, no, I know. I do like goth things, but I just wasn't my...
You just didn't want to wear them on your hands.
Yeah.
And this is quite good. This is one of them optical illusion things that makes your eyes hurt if you look at it too much. So that was by Melody R. And this was by Deplorable Knitter. I think this was quite a late entry, I think, because I was getting quite nervous because we didn't have that many entries, and all of a sudden DK and Anne submitted, and it was like, oh, thank God for that. Then we've got the other joint winner. Now, this is I was kind of surprised on this one just because of the fact that it was on, pencil and paper, but it just goes to show that people were voting for the meaning behind it, if you know what I mean. It's because it's, I think they just liked the message You know, I don't know, because I don't even know. I've not looked. I think somebody was out there who, is it? Actually, I do know it is. I'm not going to say who it is, but she wanted to knit this, so she actually charted it on a, you know, something like Stitch Fiddle. I don't know if it was Stitch Fiddle, and she's going to knit it up. So I'll be interested to see them if she does finish it, and I'll try and share it if I can. This is Anne's. Now this was pretty spectacular. It's Batman. Oh, well, no, it's Bathuman, just in case DC are watching. It's not really Batman. It's just something like that. So this is, on the left, it's Gotham City with the signal thing in the sky. The thumb has the mask, and I think that's a bit more of a
signal. I do like the thumb. I think that's pretty clever.
Yeah, well, she did a really good job of fitting everything on, because this one here as well. I don't know. You can't see the mouse, can you? Can you see the mouse moving? I always do this, and I don't think you can. So the actual back of each glove is four bats arranged into like a star shape, so it looks like a traditional mitten pattern. But it's actually Batman logo 4 times. Yeah, she put a lot of work into that. And you know what Anne's like? She like, I just do something, it's the first attempt and that's it. Whereas Anne will do it over and over and over and over and over and over again until she gets what she like, you know, the way she likes it. But Anne ended up she was the winner of the final knitted piece. So I'll just quickly go back and show you the winners again. So Anne won the knitted prize, and Shelley W and Michelle F won the design prize. So I'm going to do another design competition at some point, but it won't be mittens. I'll probably do something a little bit easier. Then we had this is the second part to this, will be in next issue. So this is a book review on 3 different books about designing your own sweaters. So it's Sweater Design in Plain English, which is a great book, by the way, if you can get a hold of it. The Knitting Workshop, and is that the Knitting Workshop is the Elizabeth Zimmerman one, and the Sweater Workshop is Jacqueline Fee. And it's really funny, I've got all 3 of these, and I didn't realize that I even had the Jacqueline Fee one. So after reading this, I had to go and root it out, because it's actually really good. Very good books to have if you're going to think about designing your own. I think every knitter needs them, says me. So therefore, that's, everybody should.
I do not have those books, and I'm a knitwear designer.
Well, you need them. The reason why you don't have them is because probably all 3, the first chapter is probably on gauge swatches. Possibly. Yeah. Neil just doesn't get how things work. Like, is this about the go away and design the mitten for me? Was it that? Or... Yeah, Tabitha snaps fingers. Do you like how you're being portrayed?
That's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
Oh yeah, design is an indie. I said on the last one, we're going to be taking most of them out, although a few people have contacted me since. So there will be some adverts in, but not many. So basically what I'm going to be doing is we're only going to have adverts in from people who are actually supporting the magazine or who want to be in the magazine, because a few people aren't in there enough. Now this Karen Hooley. So I don't know whether anyone knows Karen Hooley. She's written numerous books, and I was really pleased when she contacted me, because years ago I bought one of her books and I didn't even realize it was her. I didn't know it was her book. And she's a knitter and a crocheter, but she's more famous for her crochet work. And she submitted this pattern, which is a really, really sweet pattern, and it's in Chicken Lady Fiber Arts yarn as well, which is Secret Garden is the colorway, and it's in her Cerama Superwash base. And yeah, it's a crochet pattern, shawl pattern, and it's really nice. So then we have a crossword. So we've started. I don't know whether people like these crosswords, but we're going to put them in for the time being. The answers are in the same issue, so you're not going to win anything. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know how doable a crossword is when you're looking at it on the screen, though. Do you know what I mean?
I was just going to say, are you expecting people to print them out?
Well, some people do. Some people print every issue out, you know. There's one lady who has she's kind of binding every issue into like a book type thing. It's like, wow, that might be worth something one day. Who knows? So I don't know. So let us know. This is the one I wrote about. Touches on size inclusivity slightly. So it's Captain America, Obelix, and the Helmholtz illusion. So I was crocheting a Captain America sweater, and when I tried it on, it made me look like that cartoon character there. So the positioning of the Captain America stripes really emphasized how, you know, shapely my belly is. And I was like, I wasn't expecting this, because in my mind, I thought that those vertical stripes was going to make me look thinner. So I did a bit of delving into it afterwards, and I found out about this thing called the Helmholtz illusion. And for years and years and years, most people believe that bigger people should wear vertical stripes and avoid horizontal stripes. And when I looked into it, actually the reverse is what the experiment suggested. Is that if you wear vertical stripes, you appear bigger than if you wear horizontal stripes. But
I wonder if they said that on purpose to make them look like shit.
Well, I was so pleased with the conclusion to all this, because I started going down a bit of a rabbit hole. But then some woman did another bit of research onto it, and she cottoned onto the fact that all of the images that were taken to make that choice of whether someone looked bigger or not were 2D images, and it completely turns on its head if you're in 3D. So the thing is, you're either, so the conclusion to this is that it doesn't matter which one you choose, one way or another, you're going to look fatter. So you're either going to look fatter in real life when people can see you in 3D, or you'll be, but you'll look thinner on photographs, or you're going to look fatter on photographs, but thinner in real life. So basically you and then
you're fucked either way.
Yeah, it's your fat that makes you look fat, basically. You know, so it's like, it doesn't matter what stripes you use, the fat is there and it's going to be seen one way or another, you know. Yeah. So because of that, the Captain America sweater is just on hold for the time being while I decide what to do about that. Because honestly, I laughed at myself when I saw it, because I did look like this character here. It was like, oh my God. Oh, and then this is the pattern that's on the cover. I really love it, and I love the color choices. And again, it's Chicken Lady yarn as well. Are both Chicken Lady, or is it just the one? No, I think they're both Chicken Lady. I think one might just be an undyed one, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
But it's a lovely pattern. I think it's really, you know, the stitch definition on that is brilliant.
Who designed it?
It's designed. Oh, sorry, I didn't even say to that. It's Murderknits. She's done a few patterns for the magazine now, and she tends to do very textured designs. They usually have, you know, some kind of texture in them. So she likes doing cables. She did a really cute hat a few months back. I can't remember what it was called now. I forget. Is she watching? Yeah. Oh, so somebody said, does the thickness of the stripe have an influence? Well, this was one of the things that I sort of questioned about it, was, you know, because does it matter if the stripes are thicker and thinner, all different? Does it matter on the colors? How does that change it if they're all different colors? So I think there are so many variables to it that I don't think there's a conclusive answer. So I do not think you can ever say don't wear stripes to anybody.
I'm sure that crocheting, you know, because crochet makes things not bigger, but, you know, like a denser, depending on what stitch you're doing. And so I don't know if you use like a worsted or a bulky and then crocheted it, it's going to make you look thicker than you are, because it's just a thick.
I think what it is with the vertical stripes, I think the difference is that it follows the contours of your body, whereas with the horizontal stripes, you're not really seeing the lumps and bumps. You're just seeing the width. Whereas, so I think, although probably horizontal stripes might make you look wider, I think the thing is that the horizontal stripes show every curve. You know, so it's, and that, so both of them show the fat in a different way. I think that's what the basic thing is about that. Although I don't know, it's kind of, the article's more of a questioning thing, really, because there's no definitive answer, I don't think. Yeah, so this was the iris cowl. I keep calling it a shawl because it looks like a shawl on there, but it is a cowl. And we had another end of year piece. I'm not going to go into these because they were all very kind of similar about, you know, what they've done knitting wise, what they're planning to do next year, and so on. And then on the, I'll just talk about this in a second. Yeah, then at the back here we've got the themes for the next few issues, but in the following issue I've got some images to go with it, so it's going to look a little bit more memorable, because I keep forgetting what's what with this. And right, so the very last thing in the magazine was the article about the Emma in the Moment video, where she really had a go at Anne Pinkover and DK over them criticizing the Ravelry Pride landing page, which was ages ago. And when Craftsnark saw it, they read it or watched it as if Anne and DK were only just talking about that, but they did their video as it happened way back when, a year, 2 years ago, whatever it was, and it's Emma in the Moment who's late to the party. So everyone's like, why are they talking about that now? It's like, no, we're talking about what Emma said about that now. You know, go and, you know, do your own work, people, these craft snarkers, because they're very lazy, I tell you. So I was a bit annoyed at what Emma said, because she accused them of being homophobic, which they're not. And so I wrote quite an in-depth piece about it. I did a lot of deep diving onto that one, I can tell you, into that image. And because it reminded me of being at university, because one of the things we had to do, because I did illustration at university, we had to take an image and we had to analyze every single line of that image, you know, to find a meaning in it. And so it's quite easy for me to do that with that picture, because it was so blatant what was in there. So I don't know, what are we going to talk about it at the end? Shall we go into it at the end or not? What do you think?
I don't know, we can talk about it now or something.
Okay, it's I'll just say to people watching, it is not suitable for kids. So if you've got kids in the room, serious, and I'm being serious. I'm not just saying that because, you know, we might say a few nasty words or whatever. It's not for kids. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to decide. So is there anything you want to say before we get into it, Tabitha? Anything?
They say the quiet part out loud.
Don't they always? Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I used to think, I just want to get back to knitting. I just want to, because even though I think it's important what we do as far as speaking out against things, and it gets tiring. And part of me just wants to, gosh, can't we just get back to knitting? But then I do shit like this. And it's like, if nobody says that's wrong, it's just going to get worse. I mean, it's probably going to get worse anyways, because I think it is what it is. But if nobody stands up and says this is wrong.
And this particular thing is so wrong. But what they've done, and this is how they're clever, though, these people, is that they've manipulated everything so that any criticism of anybody who identifies with this group, or black people, or Chinese people, or whatever the group is, disabled people, if you criticize their bad behavior, you're immediately labeled as hating that entire group. And it's clever. It's clever, but it's insidious, because what we're going to talk about here has nothing to do with LGB blah, blah, blah people. What we're going to talk about here are people with deviant sexual behavior, heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, pansexual, whichever they are. It's not about any particular sexual orientation. And that's how they're going to try and spin it when they've seen it already. You know, they're going to try and say we're attacking them.
I don't know, I'm to the point now where they say you're homophobe, you're this and that. It's like, I don't even give a fuck anymore. I don't. If you
Yeah.
say everything's racist, then nothing's racist. If you say everything's homophobic, then nothing's homophobic. Your words have lost your power. I'm going to stand up and say, this is wrong, this is evil, and it needs to stop.
Well, speaking of evil, this kind of things like this really make me sit and think about things that I don't normally think about. But somebody posted something about that Satan statue, and it's like the only statue in America where there's been a conviction for somebody damaging it was the one where somebody chopped the head off the Satan statue. And that kind of says a lot, doesn't it? It's like all the other statues that have been destroyed, yet that one is sacred. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense, somebody. So, right, is everybody ready? You need to get hold of your hats, get yourself comfortable.
Spam call.
It's probably not as bad as I'm making it out, but we kind of have to make it as bad as this, don't we? Just in case there are kids in the room. We don't want to be blamed for...
I don't know why I wouldn't even watch the show with my kids.
I don't let the cats watch my show, so there you go. Okay, so here we go. So the bit at the beginning is the preamble to why I wrote this. So it's about what Emma in the moment presented, the way she positioned Anne and DK in the story as, you know, some kind of evil, homophobic, whatever. Because she kind of did this thing where she called it... I can read it out. She introduced the subject, and I quote, as a good old-fashioned case of homophobia. Yeah. And then showed just one little clip of Anne and DK criticizing Ravelry for using the picture that I'm going to show you in a second. And it was lazy of Emma, absolutely lazy, because but the thing is, I think that Emma... No, and if people don't know what I'm talking about with Emma, it's Emma in the moment who does videos that she's very fair when they're left-leaning people, but she's very unfair when they're people who are more conservative. And she deliberately kind of mocked Anne and DK in a way that she hasn't done with any other people that she's talked about. And I think Emma is actually homophobic, but in a weird way, because I don't know whether... Well, she says she's queer. Now, I have real issues with that, because what that means, did a bit of research into that, and queer literally means any kind of deviant sexual behavior that isn't heterosexual. That is literally what it means. So it includes the R word, just in case we get banned, I don't know, that happens when you don't want to consent, when you don't give your consent and somebody makes you. That's included in queer. It also includes dead people. It also includes animals. It also includes children. It includes everything that isn't heterosexual. Now, the thing about it is that they will accuse me now, because I'm saying that, of being homophobic, but I don't put gay people into this category. If they say they're queer, then I will question what the hell are you thinking to call yourself that? Because you're aligning yourself with some very, very deviant, dodgy behavior that isn't okay. I'm not saying gay people can't be gay. Nothing, absolutely not saying that at all. But that's the whole start of this. Emma is somebody who calls herself queer. I think she's also... Go on.
I did not know, and this is probably my ignorance, I did not know that queer had a specific...
Yes. It has a definition. It has and it comes from something called queer theory. And it probably started years ago, but it got big around the 90s, towards the end of the 90s. And it started being taught at universities. And the whole point of it was, prior to that, there was the good as you kind of movement. When gay people, you say, we're just like you. All gay people want was, to live the same life as everybody else. Whereas when the queer movement started, it was fuck you. Fuck you, we want to be in your face doing this, that, and the other, and it's tough. It was that kind of militant way. And a lot of people I think, probably found that attractive because they probably felt it was powerful in some way, but they didn't know what the rest of it is about. And I think a lot of these queer people do not know. I mean, I'm not excusing people's behavior, because they should know. If you're going to call yourself something, you should know what that actually means. And they're going to say I'm making this up, but I implore anybody watching this to go and research queer theory, what it actually means, because it is what I'm saying. It literally includes everything, good and bad, about sexual activity, except activity that creates babies, basically, so it's, and the thing is, like, and within that movement, they actually want to what's called queer the world. So there are people that are literally trying to turn children queer in any way, shape, or form. So it's not that they're trying to make kids gay or trans, it's just that they want them to be queer in some way or other. And then you've got people like, actually, I'm not going to say her name because it's probably not fair. Well, actually, I don't give a shit. Yelly, who's actually heterosexual, but she classes herself as queer because she has multiple sexual partners. And this is the thing that a lot of people are doing now, is because they want to feel different and part of the club. And it's boring in their eyes to not be queer, to be, ordinary and normal. So just having, but the fact that it's not the kind of sexual relationship she's having isn't producing children, and she's having, several partners, makes her think she's queer. And other people will see her as that as well. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent there. So that's the background to this. Now, so Emma in the moment is queer. She defines herself as queer. So she gets off on this a little bit, because that's the other thing about these people. I mean, one of the things that she did in her Instagram and on her videos in the past is and it's so silly, it's like so irrelevant, but she doesn't shave her armpits. Now, not every woman does. And the thing is, that's fine. You don't have to shave your armpits, but there's a difference between not shaving your armpits and then deliberately making sure people see and are shocked by it. Because one of her things is she actually gets some kind of pleasure from people's reaction to her armpits. And I'm going to come back to that a little bit later, because the artist that I'm going to talk about, there's a thing to do with that in that as well. So, and Emma knows exactly what this image is about, which I'm going to show you now. So I don't know whether, can you see that very well? I'll try.
I cannot.
Oh. Okay, I'll try and zoom in a little bit. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, it's not great. Right, so what I did I started on the left-hand side of the screen. So I didn't look at the keyboard because it just says Happy Pride on the keyboard. So I just went up one little bit, and there's a bit of a flag there. So that is a trans flag, I think. But I can't remember off the top of my head. It's in the article because I can't remember them all. So almost every single thing in this image has a meaning. But it got to the point where I was looking for a meaning where there might not have been a meaning. But that's kind of how it gets you, because you think, well, if that has a meaning, then this must have a meaning as well. But anyway, directly above that is what's called poppers. So that is a bottle of something called, well, it used to be called amyl nitrate. Now it's called something slightly different, which off the top of my head, I can't remember, but it is in the article. What it is, it's the brand is actually called Rush. So they've even got the thing right, the lightning bolt and everything. And the idea behind that is that's what you take the lid off, you inhale it through your nose, and that allows you to have anal sex. And because it relaxes all the muscles of the body. So it's a few years ago, the British government.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh, okay.
If it relaxes all your muscles, how do you have to shit everywhere?
Well, try it. Try it.
No.
I don't think it does it to that level. You know what I mean? I think I'm not quite sure, but also it gives you a high. because some people just do it for the high and don't actually have sex while they're doing it. But the British government tried to make it illegal a few years ago, and what was hilarious was that there was a gay member of parliament who stood up in parliament and said that he uses it with his boyfriend, and if they got rid of it, he wouldn't be able to have sex anymore. So they dropped it. So they didn't, just because of this one man saying he used it for sex, and that means that he couldn't have sex anymore. And it's like, well, you don't, gay people don't have to use that to have sex. They choose to use it to have sex. Some do, some don't. But anyway, so that's what that is. And a lot of people missed that. A lot of people didn't know. So put it this way, this is a drug. You use it for two purposes. One is sexual, for anal sex. The other is to get high. So this is, we all need this as knitters, don't we? We go on a knitting website and we need something that's going to relax our anal muscles, don't we? That's how suitable.
Maybe you should use that so you won't be such a tight knitter.
Oh, that is brilliant.
And I need the opposite, to tighten my stitches.
Oh my god. Oh.
I hope Emma clips that. Neil, you need that so you can loosen up.
Right, I'm good. I'll do it. Next time we have a live, I'll have some poppers and I'll.
I'm sorry. I know this is supposed to be serious.
But I don't know how to follow that.
I wonder if Liz and Teresa are dying.
Oh, it's all disappeared. Hang on, let me go back. I got overexcited. Why is it doing this?
I got you nervous, Neil. The secret's out.
You have. My hands have gone all sweaty and it's slipping over there. Right, why is... right, you might have to just... here we go. I'll have to move it around the screen. Right, so we've done the poppers. So then I was really looking at this drink thinking, what could this drink be? What could this... And I don't think it is anything. It's just a drink. A bag of what you call chips. Then there's some makeup, glitter makeup, because obviously all gay people wear glitter. Behind it is a packet of cigarettes. And this black bottle has sort of drips down the side. So I don't know. I suspect this is actually lubricant, but I don't know. It might not be. And then a bit further along, we have a lighter. And then this is where I think it gets interesting that other people wouldn't necessarily know. And I didn't know until I looked it up. So there's a lot of references to books with certain themes in it. So this is Stone Butch Blues. Now, the thing about, have you ever heard of Stone Butch before?
I have not.
Okay, right. What a stone butch is, it's just so bloody weird, I tell you. A stone butch is a lesbian who looks very masculine. They tended to be a massive thing in the 1950s. Why, I don't know.
I know what butch is. That I know what butch is. Like, if you call someone a butch, it's like here. If you call someone a butch, it's a derogatory thing. Like you're saying they're ugly.
Well, it's basically they look like a man. That's kind of what butch is. But what a stone butch is a lesbian who will not allow anybody to touch her body. So when she's with another woman, she can touch that woman's body, but no one can touch hers. And the point of that is that if anybody touches her body, she has to acknowledge that she's a woman, because they're going to be attracted to her as a woman rather than as a man. So it's kind of like the beginnings of the transsexual thing with women wanting to be men. You know what I mean? And this story, if you look it up, you honestly go and look these things up because they are quite shocking. The story about this is a woman who, it's just so. I mean, I've read the synopsis. I've not read the book, but the idea is that this woman, this lesbian woman, everywhere she goes, she's gang raped by different groups of people, and it's just so unbelievable because it's like, I'm sorry, but if you're a stone butch, as they describe it, you're going to look like, a bloke, or, you're not going to get gang raped everywhere you go. And it's a bit like, it was almost, when I read the thing, it was like this is somebody's bloody fantasy. Do you know what I mean? Or this is somebody trying to project something they think happens but doesn't really happen. And it's just, I don't know, there was just something really tacky about the whole thing. But look it up, look up the synopsis. So then we've got a to-do list, which we don't know what's on that, probably just people's names. To do, Tabitha, to do.
No.
Then there's some kind of rainbow coffee cup, which I believe the colours I think are wrong on this, but I think it's some kind of trans thing again. Smelly candle, no idea what that is in the top right-hand corner. There's a coin. I don't know what that refers to, but I'm sure it refers to something. Then there's a tarot card, which is the Three of Cups, which when I looked it up for the meaning, it means when groups of women get together and celebrate, basically. So obviously my interpretation of that in the context of this is about lesbian orgies. That's how I interpreted that, but that might be on me. Like, hold my hand up there. Who knows? Then to the right, there's a corner of a mobile phone with the words "you" up on it. Doesn't mean much to me, but whatever. And then the most incriminating aspect, which this black grey thing in the sort of middle of the screen, that's what's called a butt plug. And yes, it plugs the butt. How else can I describe that, Tabitha? What?
I'm good.
Well, hey, I tell you what, since we started talking about this, we've got more people watching. I think it's the most we've ever had. Oh my god! Right, yeah. So this is clear. This is a sexual thing. There's no other interpretation of this. So why that has to be on a knitting website's page, I don't know. And the other thing about this is assuming they're making a massive assumption because it's what is it? Pride month was this, wasn't it? The assumption is that all LGBT blah 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 use butt plugs and are into tarot cards and all the other things that we've already talked about. It's like making such an assumption about a whole group of people, which
what do they do with gay people who are conservative? Like, what do they do with gay and lesbians who don't fall into line, or trans people who don't fall into this?
Same. It's the same as black people that don't fall into line. I think they're told, you're not really gay. You don't represent the LGBT, blah blah blah. Which I'm sure, I don't know, but it's they're not accepted. Put it that way, because they're not the right kind of gay. Well, the fact that if they call themselves gay, they're already out of that anyway, because the thing now is to always be called queer. You know what I mean? That's the thing that they want everyone to be called. Then there's another list here. So it says to watch. So I looked up each one of these, and each one is a movie that has, you need to look them up again. I can't remember what the details were of each one, but all of them were, let's just say, you're not going to want to watch them with your family, put it that way. Bit strange, let's say. There's a marker of some kind here, and then this was interesting because there's something called Burt's Bees. Now, I didn't even know of this brand, but they're a cosmetic brand, are they? Or they do stuff? Well, apparently, I was told on good authority that some people use Burt's Bees as a lubricant during sex.
Thank you for ruining Burt's Bees brand forever.
So, because apparently it's a natural product or something, so it's presumably for the vegan queers out there. I don't know. So, anyway, the more you know. Yeah, poor Liz. She said, "I'm learning more than I wanted to know." Yeah, you could. If you don't want to hear anymore, I won't be upset if people don't watch this bit because it's not over. It's not over yet. There's more to come. Okay. Then we've got a handkerchief. Now, I think that is a paisley pattern. Sorry to mention your daughter's name there, but is that a paisley pattern?
Oh. Yes. Well, that's the type of, those, they were famous, like people would cover their faces. They're like the bandanas.
Oh, yeah.
That have a pattern, like the Western and people would like gonna go rob a bank or and they would have those like cowboy or outlaw patterns. That's what that is. Whether or not they use that for that now.
Well, I thought it might be paisley, but it's going to be a handkerchief, and there's a reason why I'm going to refer back to that in a second. But it's a handkerchief with this pattern on, which I'll come back to, I think. So bear that in mind. Keep that there. Now, there was a gold chain here, and immediately my mind was trying to find a meaning there, and I don't know whether there is. So, but you make your own mind up if you think that's got a meaning to it. So I'll come back to that handkerchief. So now I thought we'd look at what's on the screen on the computer. So what this is, so straight away, bear in mind, this is a live stream, a little bit like Knit Night, a little bit like Knitting Wars. I mean, you're going to see the comparisons shortly when I talk about each image, and you'll be like, oh, God, that's like every Tuesday with Anne and DK. Yeah, so we'll start in the top left, and one of the participants. So bear in mind, all of these characters here presumably can see each other on their computer, because that's what happens when you do live stream like Tabitha and I now. Tabitha, we can both see each other on our computers, so we know who's taking part in the live stream. So top left, there's a man of some, I presume he's a person of color, using their phrase, waving a trans flag. So that is going to be a girl that is now a boy, presumably. Okay, next to him, this is quite an interesting one. The flag behind the person is a leather something flag. So it's for someone who's into leather and sadomasochism. And he's wearing what I think is a dog mask. And this is a big thing now, is people pretending to be dogs during sex. And they call, or what do they call them? They're called... it's called pup play. Pup play it's called. So, right. So I actually know someone. So my neighbor who lives opposite, he's gay, and he had an ex who was a pup. So this is where I first learned of this. I'd never heard of it before. And he was treated like he was the dog, and he had to sleep he had a dog basket, and that's what he had to sleep in. And it was, I mean, it's just the weirdest thing ever. But anyway, there we go. It's not even worth imagining. But anyway, then you've got the third picture in the top row is somebody taking a selfie. So that sort of says everything. Somebody else with purple hair. So it's a bit like a yelly character. Then we've got what I think is a woman with a beard. Well, a bit of bum fluff on her face. Then you've got... presumably an older woman who says trans and proud, so God knows. Then the second row down, okay, this is again me probably reading too much into this, but as an artist, I know what those lines mean over that person's shoulder. That's a movement line. So it suggests to me that it's showing this person, this man, doing something that he perhaps shouldn't be doing on a live stream. So I'll let you make your own mind up. But I will accept that might be me reading into it being, sick in the head. You know what I mean? But with the rest of the stuff that this is showing, I don't think I'm wrong. So the next picture, there's not much to say about that one. It's someone wearing a torn-off denim jacket. Then you've got an interracial couple of some denomination. Don't know what they are, whether they're male or female, no idea. Then this is interesting. You've got a lady with big fat thighs eating chips in bed. Because that's obviously a queer thing now. If you're fat and you like chips, you're queer. And then the last picture on that second row is... Go on, Tabitha, explain that one.
No.
It's somebody with their backside out, wearing what might be thigh-length stockings, could be boots, could be, not quite sure, but... they're on, imagine doing that on Knitting Wars, on a live stream. Can you imagine that? Right. So then on the next row, so on the left of the middle row, you've then.
I need to interrupt.
Go on.
I know what that I said I didn't wear underwear. This is not what I meant.
It is. Yeah, just before and just after our lives, this is what it looks like. It's only when we go live that we, put clothes back on.
Cover up.
Yeah, so middle row, first one. This guy presume it's a guy, is wearing sadomasochistic gear, the leather thing. There's something red there. I don't know whether it's, I can't tell what it is, round his neck or in his mouth. I'm not sure. Then you've got a black lady with a cat, because obviously that's queer. Then in the middle, you've got...
you!
Yeah, it's me. Looks just like me, doesn't it? Then you've got a black woman. I don't really know what is sat in front of a window. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And then here's an interesting one. Then you've got a little family. So they're all these, the two kids here are able to see all the other people. Bear that in mind. Then you've got a guy saying "We are everywhere" on his t-shirt. So the fourth one, is that somebody dancing maybe? Then you've got an older person. Then you've got somebody with a plant. No, that's, God knows what that's supposed to signify. Then you've got something, maybe, I don't know, a threesome or with the gran. I don't know. That's probably Yelly, actually, in the middle, isn't it? With two of her partners. Then you've got another wholesome image of a man with a baby looking at all these things, because that's what you do with babies, isn't it? And then here's the interesting one. So bottom row, far left. Okay. He's either dancing or she is dancing, shaking his hips, because you've got the movement lines, and then you've got a red handkerchief in the back pocket. Now, this is something that is goes back to the 60s and 70s. It's what's called the handkerchief code. And years and years and years ago, gay men used to put handkerchiefs in their back pockets, and it symbolized different things. And there's a whole list, which I'll put a link to in the article. And this particular handkerchief is a red handkerchief, which means that this person likes to receive fists. So he likes to be fisted. Now you might...
I'm gonna take off my red handkerchief.
Yeah,
put on my Beetlejuice shawl. I did not plan this, guys.
Well, and you might say, oh, that Neil, that pervert Neil, is reading way too much into this, but I'm going to prove how all of this is right shortly. So we're over the worst of it, I think, now. That, for me, is the worst aspect of this, because it's insidious. It's saying something that the majority of people are not going to know that. Do you know what I mean?
Is that what that handkerchief off the corner is?
Well, the paisley handkerchief has a meaning, a sexual meaning. And off the top of my head, I can't remember. But Emily, yeah, this one ruined the Born in the USA album for me. Yeah, what was his handkerchief on the Born in the USA?
Red.
Oh, there you go. Therese makes a good point. None of them are knitting. Gosh. So then on the bottom row, you got two lesbians kissing. You've got a ginger person, because obviously gingers are queer as well, doing a V symbol, a peace symbol. Then you've got somebody in a wheelchair, disabled, possibly doing sign language maybe. And then I'm not sure what the black guy is doing with these things here. But that is basically the image. So it's quite exhausting, isn't it? And to think there, like Therese said, there's not a piece of yarn, there's no knitting, there's nothing on this image that connects it to Ravelry apart from the Ravelry owner being self-identified as queer. So he has an agenda that he is trying to spread. This was a statement. Those people knew exactly what was in this, and they knew that they were inflicting it on people that would have no idea. You know, and that's why I think it is so wrong. Neil's Google history. Oh Jesus, can you imagine? Oh my God. I'm going to clear my history out, I tell you.
Touche. That was good.
Yeah. There is not even a beanie or a sweater. Yeah, there isn't. Okay, so then I talk. So in the article, I go through every image and I talk about it and link, where that information has come from. Just so you know, I've not made it up from my own, weird mind.
Your Google history.
Yeah. And then what I did as well was I looked into the artist. So I thought, right, well, let's have a look at this artist. And this is what she one of her usernames is disturbing in itself, having seen all this other stuff. It's baby wrist. I'm not suggesting anything there, but that I find, I don't know, there's something, whatever. So she said, I am thrilled to show the Pride illustration I did for Ravelry. I wanted to showcase the way queers stay connected and playful despite a pandemic and government negligence in recognition this isn't our first pandemic in 2020. So what she's referring to there, which I find quite interesting because she's a woman and a lesbian, she's referring to HIV stroke AIDS pandemic, which lesbians were the least affected by. You know, everybody was affected by that more than lesbians. So heterosexuals
Wasn't
were...
Fauci the one that fucked up that AIDS thing and they were worshiping him during COVID?
Apparently so, yeah. There's definitely a Fauci link there. Then it says, also, I hear people are already complaining about the butt plug. Laugh out loud, keep kink at Pride, y'all. Then it says, swipe for details. So she found it funny that people were not happy about that. And then a bit further down, someone says, honestly, anyone complaining about this is weird because most kids aren't exactly on Ravelry. But what do I know? Maybe it's the new social media for kids spelt wrong. Well, how does she, well, I say boy, who knows these days? How does he know that kids aren't using Ravelry? It's not an over 18 site, is it?
No.
You could be on there looking for a pattern for Paisley. Said, "Oh, do you like that pattern, Paisley? Do you like that?" But wanting to choose one. So it's like you can't say that. You cannot make that. Also, you can't say it's a site for kids either because it isn't specifically for kids. But there are kids' items in it and toys and children's clothes. So there's that. And then this one here, laugh out loud, and nobody mentions the rush. Now, the rush is the poppers. So it's like they were getting off, these people, whoever they are, were getting off on the fact that people were unaware of what was in it. Mm-hmm. So now this is where I'm going to sort of put in the proof of what I've been saying. So, oops. So, oh God, it's going crazy on here. Even my computer doesn't like these pictures. I'm not going to be able to make that bigger. It's going to go weird. Right. So this is off the artist's Instagram page, directly taken from there. So this is the top one here on the right says, yes, I'm flagging queer flagging 101, how to use the hanky code to signal the sex you want to have. So basically that is showing that she knows exactly what that hanky code is. And that means that drawing on the screen there is about the flagging thing that that she's talking about here. Below that's the artist, and she's wearing a t-shirt that says "The future is eating ass," which, if you don't know what that is, find out. Well, don't find out. I'm not telling you. And then with a sticker with, I presume that's a picture of the crucifixion on Calgary, and next to it says "I love sodomy." Now, bear in mind that the owners of Ravelry either know who this person is or went looking and thought that this person would be suitable to do a picture for their landing page. Bear that in mind. You don't just give any old artist that job, do you? You do a bit of research. So, next few things here. Oh God, I don't even want to say some of these. Right, so at the top on the left here, that the smaller image says yellow piss play. So basically, it's another hanky code. So if you wear a yellow hanky in your back pocket, depending on which pocket you put it in, means that you either like to urinate on people or you like to be urinated on. And then behind it, it's got this other image with all sorts of, the stuff on this image is incredible in a bad way. So first of all, it says, don't overthink what feels good. Maybe you should actually overthink it. But they've got anal beads. There's an image directly above it. They've got another butt plug. They've got lube. They've got underwear. They've got harnesses. Things that I don't even know what it is. I don't know what some of those, but I know everything on that image is a sexual thing. Below that is the armpit thing. So I don't know if you remember, I mentioned her armpits, Emma in the moment, and this is definitely linked to that because this person holding their arm up looks I'm making a leap here, I'm not sure. There's lines under the nipples there that look like it may be post mastectomy, maybe, might not be, don't know. Well, this person is doing what you think they're doing, and the title of it is Spit Drip. Not quite sure what that really means. I don't know. Okay, top right. I'm sorry, everybody, for this, by the way. I did warn you. I did warn you that it's bad. The top one is dark pink. So that is... so this is all the hanky codes, by the way. I'm forgetting. So the dark pink is the hanky code, which means you're into tit torture. Do you just wake up one day thinking, oh, I'm really into that today? I don't quite know. I don't know. And then there's a whole thing about it here, which it's really bad, actually, because is it this one? Let me just have a quick read. Yes, okay. So this is anything from pinching and slapping to nipple clamps, nipple suctions, nipple piercing, or knife play. Is that suitable for a knitting website to have that kind of artist drawing for a knitting website? So that is actually encouraging people to self-harm or to actually harm someone else. We're talking about knives, cutting people. It's not just, whatever. It's not a little nibble. You know what I mean? And then below that, it's this one says, be gay, do crimes. You shout, and I'm like, boy, you've never ever stolen from Target. So, I don't know how seriously you should take that, but it is an incitement to break the law. Surely that is, not okay. I don't know. And pretty much that's the background of the artist. So I'm confident that what I've said about the Ravelry image is right. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I'm reading into that too much. Sorry, Anne. Yeah, some of the I'll just put a few of the comments on it because I think they deserve to be aired. Yeah, Therese. Yeah, you weirdos. Call them perverts and you're a bigot. I had the unfortunate experience of opening it the first time with my teen to look for a top to knit her. Oh, do you mean the actual when it was actually on Ravelry? Right, I thought you meant my thing then.
I will say, and this is me being piss everybody off. It's not on. I know it's inappropriate for anything. It's inappropriate to be online. It's inappropriate, but in this day and age, the parents have and everything that's going on in the world. I know it's a knitting website. You should think it's safe. There is nothing safe anymore, even prior to this. So
even this show, the fact we've had to talk about that. Because, and I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but I will say that I feel like I've had... Well, you know me. I feel like I've had to talk about this. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about it just because I find it funny or titillating or whatever. I think that people need to know what is actually behind these things, because they tried to make out that image was just, it's just, LGBT, blah, blah, blah. But it's not. That isn't gay people. That does not represent gay people. Because if they were truly representing gay people or lesbians or trans people, they would have shown lesbian and gay people knitting. Knitting like every other effing person would. It's the fact that they didn't have any knitting, the fact that it's all sexual, that it's including children, that what's he called? Casey Cassidy, whatever the hell he calls himself. I worry for that child that is in that family, because if he thinks that this is okay and these are the kind of people that he's around. This isn't right. This is not right. Sorry, I just went off on one then, didn't it? Carry on.
Well, okay, so back to what I was saying. People like us who have logged in with their kids behind them to look at a pattern, and they're like, oh my God, this is on there. Well, don't log on to something with your kids behind you. Ever. Any Facebook, Instagram, nothing. I'm not saying it's your fault your kids saw that, but it is your fault your kids saw that.
Yeah, I get. Well, it's interesting because I mean, DK and I. This is when we first sort of not long after we first sort of met online. I was doing a design, and I never even considered that DK would have a child sat next to her, and I'd done a graph, a hand-drawn graph with the word "F it" written on it. The F word, and I just wanted her back because I knew how good she was at doing. Lettering on stuff. But I didn't know her daughter was sat next to her when she opened the screen. And that was like my first realization that not everybody is sat at home on their own like I am when we're doing stuff, But yeah, you do. You can't trust anything these days. And Diana, yeah, I appreciate you saying that because, oh, she's back.
Sorry.
You don't leave me on my own.
No. I got 15 minutes.
Okay. Well, we pretty much are. Well, now we've done that, we can talk about some of the other nonsense that's been going on, can't we? So, what else has been going on in the knitting world? Craft Snack is always a place to go, isn't it?
I thought it was interesting that they somebody had shared an opinion of Craft Snark and how they thought it was awful and bad, and then they got blasted on Craft Snark. And then the OP, the person who posted it on the other website, was like, I'm so sorry. And, because they're like, if you mention the name Craft Snark, certain podcasters use it to get off on, and that's how they get their views. And you can't even criticize Craft Snark. And the OP was like, I'm so sorry. I'll keep my opinion to myself. I won't ever say anything bad about Craft Snark. It's absolutely ludicrous.
Well, Craft Snark, I mean, did I mention it earlier, how I've managed to get them to delete anything that is mentioned about me or the magazine, because basically they had, I think it might have been 7, they had 7 separate threads on there that were just about saying horrible things about me. They were really nasty, the things they were saying. It wasn't critique of the magazine. That's okay. That is perfectly legitimate. Or if they said, oh, I didn't like that pattern, or what he wrote there I don't agree with.
Graphic design is my passion.
Yeah, but talking about speculating on whether I'm, a sexual deviant in some way, and because that's the things they've been saying. What they've made, they've accused me of being a paedophile. They've accused me of everything. You name it, I've done it according to them. And
I love how they accuse you of being a pedophile, but they put that on the Ravelry page.
Well, isn't it that thing? It's like everything the left do is an accusation of what they are actually doing. It's like, if you look at the whole Donald Trump thing and Joe Biden, they're saying Donald Trump has got dementia, but it's Joe Biden that's got dementia. Donald Trump clearly doesn't have dementia at the moment, and that's what they do. What they are, they throw it out onto other people. Yeah, so Craft Snack, because that thread that you mentioned, they were trying to make out how lovely they were and how, they've never seen anything awful said about
We're doing God's work.
Oh, yeah. And it was almost like they were saying, oh, don't worry, everybody. We know we're nice people, really. And it's like, no, you're not. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some nice people that go on Craft Snack, myself included, and you. We both go on there, don't we? But I'm banned now. I can go on and view, but I'm no longer allowed to say anything. And the reason for that is because for 2 days, I went in and replied to the accusations and said, no, this is a lie, show the evidence, blah, blah, blah. And then they banned me. So basically, they banned me simply because I was proving them wrong. And they didn't like it. They want to have the hate fest. That's what they want to encourage. And that's the mods for you, the moderators. They're worse than most of the Craft Snackers, the moderators. Really horrible people. I have to say that. Really, really horrible people. I don't know how they sleep at night.
I don't understand. So I will say in Reddit Snark's defense, there are some threads on there that are good, and it opens up for a good discussion. And some people bring up good points on this and that. So there are some good things that I find out on Snark. But at the end of the day, and I'm guilty of this too, I'm thinking, I just spent an hour reading this. What have I gained? Or like,
yeah,
I'm just like, I could have been knitting. These motherfuckers got me enthralled in this Snark shit, and I could have been knitting.
The thing, somebody once said to me years ago, I mean, I don't live by this, but I try to, but I know I don't. But somebody years ago once, I think it was an old boss, I must have moaned about something at work. And he said to me, never moan about something unless you've got a solution to offer. And that's kind of what I try to do. I don't do it.
I do not live by that.
But I think that's something that maybe craft snarkers perhaps should try. I mean, I know, if you're going to moan about the issue, have a solution. If you're moaning about size inclusivity or whatever it might be, suggest what you can do about that, rather than just moaning about it. Because it's, and also, I think the thing that gets me is the pile-ons, because they've started again with Christy Glass, haven't they? Which I just think, just leave the bloody woman alone. She's just minding her own business now. But and they're doing that thing where they're saying, if anybody's seen with her, we've basically cancelling them. And by the way, if anyone's not on Instagram, I've asked if anybody has ever been I don't want to say blackmail, but if anyone has ever had anyone contact them to say, don't be, distance yourself from this person, or don't be pals with that person, otherwise I won't buy from you or support you or whatever. Because I'm compiling a bit of information to talk about how the actual process of how somebody is cancelled, what people do. And also, I've got reason to believe somebody is doing that at the moment. To us, aren't they? I think they're doing it to us at the moment. So I am really quite interested to know if anybody has been approached. And I won't say who you are or your name, but I will take out the anonymous part of what you say. So if you email me or DM me if that's happened to you, I've already had a couple in, which has been quite surprising. Really, I wasn't expecting things to come in so soon. There we go. Shelley said it's a military thing. Don't bring a problem without a solution. That makes sense. Yeah.
I offer 0 solutions. I just want you guys to hear all my problems.
You just cause the problems, don't you?
I do.
You cause the problems, and the rest of us have to find the solution.
Correct.
Was there any other craft snark stuff? Because they've been quite. There was another thing, wasn't there? What was it? You're not allowed to give away patterns for free. That was one of the things they were all going on about. So you got to charge. So I've really felt like going on there and say, well, I give all the patterns away for free on blog. So does that mean you should be paying me? But then I'd get blocked again because I'm not allowed to say, no one's allowed to mention blocked. Yes, Annie, you're right. They're a personality disordered section of society. Definitely.
Okay, so my question is, are these moderators paid?
No.
Like, who is funding their lifestyle for them to be online all the time?
Well, there's a team of them. So when I set up my when I set up my Reddit account, because I've got a Reddit account, but I've not really told many people about it because I've just been playing with it really. And I've nominated, I think 5 or 6 people to be moderators. And it's just when they're on, they get to see things that have been flagged well, the thing is, what was really interesting was how much information you get because now I'm a moderator of my own little area. So you can write comments about people. So what I now know is that whenever anybody suggested, I think that's Neil from Blocked, the mods will have written in a private area that only the mods can see, this is probably Neil from Blocked, keep an eye on this account. And then they can flag that account, and everything you do, they will then see it. It'll come up to them first. And you can monitor people and put reasons why you're monitoring that person. So it's really quite I don't know, it's in the wrong hands with the wrong kind of people, it's not you're not going to get a fair crack of the whip on Craftsnap, put it that way. And if you've said anything they don't like, you probably have had a note made about who you are or what you do, you know.
Just if people and what they choose to, and us included, people and what they choose to use to pass the time just fascinates me.
Well, yeah. What kind of people? I mean, I do it in a certain. Yeah, I do it. I mean, I go looking for drama, don't I? I do go looking, but then I've got a reason for doing that. You know, there's a purpose for it. Whereas I don't think I would do it if I was just knitting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because I'm not here just to knit, you know, I've got you know, my reason for doing the magazine and things like that. So,
but there's not other people in there aren't like that.
No, yeah, well, there's one, but there's a few. Well, there's a lot of them actually. They live for it, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they say Neil journalist, and they say the magazine. Yeah, that's what they should be calling me, a snazzy artistic journalist. They should. I tell you what, I've got more journalistic integrity than anyone on Craftsnark. I can say that much. At least I try and get evidence. But I think we've probably finished, have we now? I think we've talked about what we were going to talk about, have we?
I think so. I got about 5 minutes, so okay. I think this is a good time to end.
Right, well, quickly before we go, you can find you purely on YouTube, can't you, these days? You're not on Instagram anymore. There's a new issue of Blocked currently in, well, everything's done. It's just going to be put together. I've just got to write the introduction at the beginning, and I think everything's done. So we've just got to play around with Tabitha's cover and trying to make her look good. Oh, God, that's going to take hours. Yeah, so the issue should be out the last day of February. So I didn't realize it was a leap year this year. So that's an extra day of time to prepare. So it'll be the 29th of February. And I don't think there's anything more to say about that. I don't think. Yeah, next issue is the Bear Arms issue. So not this one, sorry. The one after is Bear Arms. So we are looking for patterns and articles and anything that is connected to bears, arms, being bear, bear arms in any way you can interpret that. So, or it doesn't have to be. You don't have to make it link, by the way. It's just to help people come up with something. Because I think, oh no, I won't say, but you've come up with a couple of things, haven't you, already? So, but I won't say what they are. So, Tabitha, is that it? Anything? Any last words? No?
Come, Lord Jesus.
Well, this time I'm going to say Tabitha and Neil, me, we both been blocked.